Hey guys, it's Skal, and welcome back to Skal Plays Minecraft. In today's episode of Minecraft, we're going to do some pretty cool shit. I mean, I'm sure you can already see one of the cool things that I've done. Toonbay has been telling me for the longest time, install NVIDIA, try Bobby, and I'd seen previously this mod that allows you to have an insanely expanded render distance. I believe it was called Distant Horizons. I gave that a try a little while ago. It does work. It works excellently. However, NVIDIA is the shit. My god, look at this shit. I can see the outer end islands from this one. What? I cannot believe that I'm seeing this, and it's not even like it's been reduced in quality. Like with Distant Horizons, everything still looks really good, even while zoomed in. This is the over-the-shoulder mod, by the way. I'm a big fan of this one. Highly configurable third-person camera mod, which it works excellently. As soon as I start flying on my Elytra, the camera zooms out considerably to give me an even more brilliant experience. While I was doing this, I actually had to fly around the edge of the end to load all of these islands. The way that the mod works, it doesn't load further than your set render distance. It just keeps chunks loaded after you leave the area, up to a certain point. I have this set right now to 128 chunks, but you can have it be much higher than that, I believe. So I might experiment with what kind of a setting that I want to go with. While I was flying around here, though, I did see an end city, and I believe it's one that I've not actually explored just yet. That's somewhere I've already been to, so that's not very promising. I think it was around this way. Oh, yep. There it is. New entity. Very nice. This is one that I haven't actually explored yet, I believe, and it's always good to have spare elytra and, extra shulker boxes, so I'm just going to quickly go through it, clear it out, see how much stuff we can... Wow! There are a few end cities here. What the fuck? I was flying by here and I saw this one and was like, oh, okay, end city, cool. There's two more right there. That one's massive. Look at the size of that one. It's got a ship as well. That is just insane. Please don't step in my gaze. That is absolutely insane. Look at that. I cannot get over that. I want to see what it looks like in the overworld when we go to somewhere that's that far away. I bet it's going to look fantastic. Didn't actually loot all three of them. Only looted one. But I managed to get 20 shulker shells and an elytra and a bit of golden iron as well. I'm obviously not too fussed about the tools and the armor because I've already got perfect tools and armor, so I don't really see a need to take those. They're just clogging up space and I don't really know where to put them. So yeah. Obsidian. We've got a little bit more obsidian now, which is in good preparation for the gold farm. I do have to kind of decide where I want to build the gold farm. It's going to be at the location that I showed at the end of the first episode, with the new base. But where exactly in that area do I want to build it? I don't really know just yet. I haven't really decided. I guess an elytra can probably go in this armor and tools thing, I guess. I mean, I've already got one spare elytra in my equipment box. This is for the situation, if I'm ever out exploring and my elytra breaks, I've got a spare one just sitting right here. And I have had to use that a couple of times. Sometimes exploring far in the overworld does lead to that sort of a situation. And speaking of exploring far in the overworld, I want to fly to spawn and see how that looks. Alright, so here is the meadows, which is right near where we first lived. Obviously, the spawn chunks are over that way. Old base is over that way. What? That's ridiculous. Look, you can see it from here. What? I'm blown away. I cannot get over this mod. I cannot get over it. I want to say, I think if I change the render distance, it is going to reset it. Video, NVIDIA, yeah, here we go. So region keep distance. So I've set this to 128 chunks, which is 4 times the max render distance of Minecraft. But you can put this up to keep all. It doesn't even have, it's just all. Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. It didn't even reset the view distance when I changed that. Okay, that's insane. I just want to fly this way a bit longer and just see what it looks like. Okay, it must be said, there are some weird issues with rendering new terrain. This seems to be happening when I'm moving into areas that I've not really visited before. But, oh my god, look at it. You can still see it. That's insane. Yeah, there's a lot of, missing chunks, unfortunately. I'm not really sure what to do about that, so we're getting a little bit of an X-ray experience right now. Weird to think that the grass is still there. Look at that, the grass is still there, but the grass blocks are gone. How has that happened? Why is it struggling to render specifically grass and water? Oh, no, it's still doing something. I'm not really sure. I mean, it seems to be fine. It only seems to be when we move into, chunks that haven't been created before that this sort of an issue happens. If it's somewhere that we've visited before, it's smooth as shit. I mean, look at this. I'm playing with 280 FPS right now. No issues. No issues at all. This is magical. That is just I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. It's just insane. I should probably sleep. It feels kind of weird just being here and, you know, gawking at the world while it's pitch black. Oh, okay, that's a weird side effect of the third-person camera mod, but can't complain. Oh, the skeleton's burning. I think he's chilling. Look at this. Look at it. I can just see everything. A bit weird, but the ocean is kind of unloaded under my base, but it's just ridiculous. I can't get over it. Oh my god, okay, I'm not going to move, because I just, like, stepped this way, and now the mountain's unloaded, but look! Oh! There's fucking Skulk! There's fucking Skulk! I've never been to the Deep Dark before. I've never done it. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and I've never been able to find a Deep Dark biome, and it's a little bit sad that the first time that I've ever found a Deep Dark biome was because of weird rendering issues, but it's there, like, it's beneath where I am, so I could dig down there any point I want. I believe that's really close to my strip mine, actually. If I came this way, I might have naturally run into it anyway. But yeah, Deep Dark. Look at that. You can see a Skulk catalyst as well. Oh, there's a dungeon there. Yo. Oh, this feels really wrong. I don't like cheating in this game. I feel like it really ruins the experience. But, I mean, I didn't intend this, you know? It's an unfortunate... It's a happy accident. That's exactly what it is. It's a happy accident. Well, I came over to the creeper farm just now, and it looks like we're actually backed up pretty bad for gunpowder. So we have a full chest here, and also hoppers that are now filling up with gunpowder as well. So we really should find the use for this gunpowder. And you know what? I've already got a fuckload of rockets. I think we're going to make some TNT. I think it's time that I finally got around to just blowing a ton of shit up. This is kind of the kind of thing that I've always wanted to do in vanilla Minecraft. You know, like, just making a ton of TNT and having some fun with it. It's something that I feel I've never actually done in survival Minecraft before. But now we have more than enough resources to do it. The thing that we're actually lacking in now is sand. So I might have to go on, like, a sand mining trip today. But yeah. So how many stacks of gunpowder do we need for this? I've got 8 stacks of sand. So I need 10 stacks of gunpowder, I believe. And, oh, okay. What? Okay. What? I think I need to get Bobby. I was recommended by Invidium itself that Bobby is recommended for this mod, so I think we might do that. I'm going to restart the game, get Bobby, and hopefully this will stop happening. Alright, so it turns out I was actually doing this wrong. Invidium is a rendering system, which also happens to be able to load more of the world than the vanilla system. However, Bobby is apparently the way to go when it comes to increasing the render distance. Bobby has actually now allowed me to just simply set my, like, actual render distance in the general settings to 128 chunks. So I have some unfortunate news. I did just record a large segment of the video where I blew some shit up, and it was quite fun. I made an absolute ton of TNT, and I've used most of it, to be honest. But unfortunately, because of the new rendering system that we were experimenting with Bobby and Invidium, it seems that the footage that I recorded using OBS is just really poor. It will just kind of pause for like a good 5 to 10 seconds over and over again. So it seems that OBS just could not cope with whatever the rendering systems were doing before. So unfortunately, I've had to disable them. I'm now playing at 32 chunk render distance. I have actually re-enabled Invidium over Bobby because I feel like it wasn't creating the same issues with OBS. But I've lowered it to 64 chunks from 128. So we're going to get a little bit of the long render distance thing going on here, but not as much as we've had for the first part of the episode. So conclusion of the TNT experiments here, I was trying to figure out like how big of an explosion radius TNT has. Over here, I had a big block of deep slate, and I found out that actually a piece of TNT within deep slate will create a perfect 3x3x3 hole, so we can definitely use that to our advantage when clearing out the spawn chunks. And then for a little bit of fun, I also just created a giant hole in the ground over here. Yeah, bit of a waste of TNT, but it was fun, you know. Alright, so something that I'm still yet to figure out with the TNT is how we're actually going to go about mining out this area of deep slate. So first of all, option 1, I just want to see if this is going to trigger a chain reaction. I don't think it will. No, it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, if we mine it within the... Yeah, look at that. That's really helpful. We get like a perfect 3x3x3 hole. So my guess is that wherever we have an area of just deep slate, this is going to work really nicely. Yeah, look at that. That's actually really good. That would have taken ages to mine by hand. The problem is going to come when we have things like andesite and diorite and tuff, because of course it has a different resistance value compared to deep slate. So I'm going to trigger just a few more of these, the ones that we know we definitely can do, and then we'll try some of the other ones in just a moment. That's interesting. I wonder why that happened. Oh, it's happened a couple times. Okay. So I guess there is a slight element of randomness involved with this, which is fine. It is acceptable. Let's try the one over here with the andesite. Is it going to trigger a chain reaction? I'm guessing yes. No. That's interesting. It actually exploded pretty much the same way. I wonder if deep slate and stone actually have the same resistance to TNT. I didn't check that. Yeah, it's 3x3, even just with andesite. Alright, I think we're good then. I think this is the way to go. So we're going to just use TNT, mine out this whole area. Look at that. Perfect. Fuck. Oh, I mean, at least the spawn chunks are right here, so it could be a lot worse, right? Yeah, that was a mistake. I guess there was like a little cave here, and when I went to ignite the TNT fell into it, and I was like, wait, what? What happened? And then I fell into the hole, like I did just like that. Like I fell in. Yeah, and that's all it took. Because obviously I was like stood pretty much in the TNT when it exploded. So that was fun. That was my 29th death in this world. Oh, it's so annoying. Yeah, I just wanted to show that, because I guess this method isn't perfect. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm getting a lot done here. It's pretty good, but it's a bit dangerous, because I can blow myself up by accident, apparently. So I've just been mining a bit more, and we've gotten down to layer -27 now, which is pretty epic. We've done quite a bit of progress. However, I did just use up my last piece of TNT, and my pickaxe is very nearly dead. So I think it's time we left this project for now and started working on something a little bit different. So the general plan for the spawn chunks right now is simply to clear them and set up an iron farm somewhere up there. I realized that I didn't actually have to clear the spawn chunks to make an iron farm. I'm doing this for really no good reason, but I do believe there is some sort of a benefit to having the spawn chunks already cleared. So we might come back to this in the future and finish it off, but we don't actually need to finish this project before we can start building the iron farm, so I think that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to put this stuff away in all these random chests over here, which we'll need to deal with, really. But, you know, and then I'm going to hop into my creative world, and we'll start planning some sort of design. So it must be said, I'm a little bit confused right now. I'm not really sure what's going on here. This is the exact iron farm that I've built in my survival world right here. Obviously, the portals aren't lit because I'm just waiting to see the iron golems spawn in the center area and then killing them with my Mr. One Punch Man buff over here. But they're not spawning. They just aren't spawning at all, and I don't quite understand why. I've just followed the same tutorial that I followed when I initially built this farm, and it's just not working. So I'm assuming that maybe it's because of the fact that I'm in like a super flat world and some of the game rules have been changed. I've tried to do mob spawning. I've tried to do daylight cycle in case it's some village mechanic that I'm unaware of, but nothing's working. I don't really get it. And I tried this as well. So, you know, in my mind, if you have 3 villages that are panicking and have a registered home of having a bed, then they can spawn an iron golem. But they don't. They just don't. I've done this test twice now. This is the 3rd time. And they're just not spawning an iron golem. So I'm a little bit confused. I don't really know why this isn't working. But I think I can just kind of ignore the fact that it's not working and plan out the farm anyway, because I already have a good idea of what the spawning mechanics are. Every single villager has like basically a 7x7x7 cube around them, or is it 14x14? Clearly I don't know what I'm talking about, but they have an area around them in which they're able to spawn the iron golem when they're in this state of panicking, which occurs when they're in direct line of sight to a zombie. So that would mean that they spawn in this area right here, because this is the only valid spawning location near the villagers. And then, of course, they spawn inside the portals, instantly get snapped to the nether, and because they're outside of the range of the villagers by going to the nether, they then seek to spawn another iron golem. That's the whole idea. That's how it should work. It's just not working here for some reason. Look at him go. But yeah, so I'm going to start planning the farm, even though it's not working. Bang, got it. Okay, so I was Googling the spawning conditions for iron golems, and it turns out they're actually only able to spawn if the villager has slept in a bed. So when I spawned these guys, obviously my game rule of do daylight cycle was false, and it's been daytime the entire time. So they've never actually got into the bed once. So I set it to night, and now they've been in a bed, and now the iron golems can spawn. So even if we now set it back to daytime, which I can absolutely do, they will continue to spawn iron golems even after these ones are cleared, because they've been in a bed recently. So we should, about every 10 seconds or so, see more iron golems spawning. Hopefully. Oh, okay, right. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, okay, sweet, it's working again. Sick. Okay, nice. Yeah, okay, back to designing. Okay, so this is the basic idea of what I'm going for here. We've got 4 of these cells here in a single line, just like this. So this farm is already technically spawning as many iron golems as the smaller design that I've already used down there. Obviously, the iron golems aren't being cleared right now, so it's impossible to test the spawn rates. That's kind of what I wanted to do next. I'm going to light the portals and see how that works. So I think the iron golem's hitbox is large enough so that wherever they spawn in this farm, they'll just instantly go through the portal. If that doesn't work, then it's fine. We'll just reduce the amount of space in between the portals to a single block instead of 2. But I think this should work. Okay, yeah, so that is working from the looks of it. I'm going to sit here and watch it for a few more minutes and see if any iron golems spawn and don't immediately teleport to the nether. Oh, okay, well... Yeah, fair enough, my bad. I forgot to spawn-proof the tops of the portals, so I guess that was going to happen eventually, wasn't it? Yeah, fair enough. Alright, well, I've been watching this for some time now, and I do believe that it is working as intended. So the next step of this process is to kind of see just how many villagers we can squeeze into this underneath area to get the absolute max rates we can for the size of this farm. The length of the portals, or the width of the portals, I should say, is as long as they can be. 21 blocks on the interior, 23 if you count the edges, and of course they only need to be 3 blocks tall for the iron golems to spawn inside of them. This underneath section here can probably just be cloned over and over again, so I'm going to do that next. You know, I was really convinced that this was going to work really well and be, like, super efficient and fast, but I'm starting to think that maybe the villages are packed too tightly together. Maybe they've like, formed a village or something like that, and they all remember that they've spawned an iron golem recently, something like that. I don't really know how it works. You see one just there. It should be a hell of a lot more iron golems than I'm getting right now. I'm getting, like, 1 every single spawn cycle. I'm going to head back over to the wiki and give it another read, see if there's anything I missed. Alright, so it turns out villagers actually remember when a nearby villager has spawned an iron golem. Now the criteria for that is basically just checking to see if a villager within a 10 block radius has spawned an iron golem recently. And sure enough, I came back to the old farm design and the villages are 15 blocks apart. So the bad news is we can't cram as many villagers into this farm as I originally wanted to. The good news is we won't need to cram this many villagers into the farm in survival mode, so that's kind of a relief, honestly. I'm going to get rid of all of this underneath and go back to the drawing board. Alright, so a little bit of experimentation later, and I now have 2 new iterations of the farm, and I'll talk a little bit about these. So first of all, the original plan with this farm now was to basically make sure the villagers were spread out a fair distance so that they wouldn't interact with each other's spawning mechanics, and that was achieved in this version of the farm. I found out that minecarts actually work in the spawn chunks, so I immediately had the idea of using a zombie on a minecart rail like this, and they would go back and forth and scare each of the villagers. That would just make it a little bit easier to get all of the zombies up here, because we'd only need 2 zombies for this entire farm. However, unfortunately, that's probably not going to be the best way of doing things, because of course the zombie is only periodically in front of the villagers, so they're being scared and going into that state of panic a lot less than they otherwise would be. So maybe not the best idea. So, you know, keep it simple, use what we already know works, and this version of the farm now has 5 zombies. So the total mob requirement of this farm is 27 villagers and 5 zombies. It is a little bit unfortunate with the layout because we're not being entirely efficient here. You can see that the villagers on this side are being scared by the zombies in the middle, and the villagers on this side are being scared by these 2 zombies here. We could, in theory, just have 6 zombies, so it's a little bit more symmetrical, but I guess this is technically more efficient and would require ever so slightly less work. So this is the best way of doing it, I have found. So this has pretty good rates. I have been testing this now. I've set up a really simple... Oh, you see how many spawn in one cycle? It's so good. I've got a little killing chamber in here. It's a bit loud. I do apologize. It will quiet down in a moment. Okay, there we go. So yeah, if you look in this chest here, I've been letting this run for a little while. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Obviously, this isn't running continually because I haven't built it in the spawn chunks. Then again, I could just change the spawn chunks, couldn't I? So one of the mods that I have installed is called Mini HUD, and it allows you to see overlays for some of the, technical parts of Minecraft's gameplay. In this case, I'm actually looking at the spawn chunks right now. I didn't build this farm in line with any specific chunks, so I'd have to expand the spawn chunks by a little bit to make sure that this farm is always loaded. But you can see there, that right there is world spawn, and the green border around us are the spawn chunks. However, if I go to the nether, it's not working as perfectly as I would have thought. You see, the golems will come through, and we get decent numbers, and we might even get some more coming through in a sec, but then after a certain amount of time, it will just slow down and then eventually stop. Yes, there's another wave. That's fine. But then now, if my findings are consistent, it's broken, which is disappointing. And I'm worried that maybe the spawn chunks don't actually work for iron golem farms anymore. Yeah, I've been sitting here for quite some time now, and no more golems are coming through, which is really strange. Not as strange as that, but yeah. But if I go back to the overworld, we will get more golems spawning. I always come out of this one for some... Do you know what? Let's just get rid of these poles, actually. Now we will get more golems spawning, because I am here, and my presence is enough to make them want to spawn golems. But it'll be the same way. If I go back to the nether, that one came through, a new wave comes through, we might get one more wave, but then that's it. It's done. And we'll get no more. Well, it's certainly not the end of the world. I'm still very happy with the farm that I've designed here. So I think what we're going to do today is get the killing chamber prepared in the nether in my survival world, and maybe start work on building the iron farm itself. However, if it's not working, if the spawn chunks aren't making this work consistently, then we'll probably just build it at the new base location, and then we'll be in range of it when we're at the base, and it will just work passively whenever we're, at home, which is still better than nothing. Spawn chunks would be really cool, but if it's working while we're, at our base, that's also a good win as well. This is producing more than double the amount of iron that the current iron farm I've got does, so it's definitely a big improvement. So I've gone ahead and made a handy backup of my survival world in creative mode, and I've managed to save the iron farm as a structure, so we'll load that up. Yeah, there it is, good to go. I've broken the portal over there, so now this one is connected to a small killing chamber in the nether, and we can see if this works. So the villagers aren't going to spawn any golems until they've been in bed, so I'm going to need to first of all do time set 18,000, and then once they're getting into the beds and panicking, they'll start to spawn some iron golems. For whatever reason, this farm seems to just work a lot better after I've relogged, so I'm going to just save and quit and log back onto the world and see if that makes any difference. Oh, okay, so it is working. Good stuff. I'm going to head over to the nether and see if we've got decent rates here. Okay, so we've got a couple guys in here. I expect what's going to happen now is maybe we'll get like one or two more come through, but then it's going to stop, same as the creative world. Yeah, I'm really not sure. I'm going to wait around and find out. Alright, well, I've been stood here for a couple of minutes now, and there hasn't been a single iron golem come through the portal here, so I'm going to have to assume that spawn chunks are not the way of doing this. I think what we're going to do then in that case is maybe take the iron farm that we've already designed and simply build it at the new base location. So yeah, that'll be an idea for the future. So before I round off the episode today, I think it's about time that we took care of an ongoing problem. In my ender chest here, I have 3 full shulker boxes of netherrack. Now, I've thrown away quite a lot of netherrack whilst making the nether tunnels, but I'm not very good at throwing things away. Frankly, I'm a bit of a hoarder, I've been told. So I would like to hoard everything that I can possibly hoard. We've been removing the chunks at spawn. I mean, apparently now I've been doing it for no good reason, but never mind. However, I've amassed an absolute ridiculous amount of stone and deep slate, gravel, andesite, granite, diorite, bunch of different resources that we now need to store in bulk, and my 1 chest per item solution at the current base is just not working out, is it? So my current plan is to essentially start the new base over here with a bulk storage room, and the idea would be to find a central point that I want to have in the valley, and then dig down and build a basement where we have a corridor stretching out in 1 of 4 different directions, all kitted out to store huge amounts of 1 single item. So I placed down a torch right there. I think that actually looks pretty good. That makes a decent center to the valley, right where the pumpkin patch is. So I'm going to get rid of the pumpkins, and we'll dig down, and we'll start building the bulk storage basement. Alright, so my block palette of exclusively stone brick is 100% subject to change. This is just so I can get the general shape of the thing down. But yeah, this is the stairwell. This is kind of the idea of how the middle of the base will be. My plans are to have this central point where the torch still is, be like kind of the middle crossroads of the entire base. There'll be a road that goes off that way, and there'll be stuff over there. Same for that way, same for this way, and that'll be the entrance area to the base over in this direction. And then in the center of the base, if you come down these stairs and head to the basement, there'll be tunnels heading that way and that way for bulk storage. Maybe this tunnel will go to something else and it'll only be this way for bulk storage. Maybe that's something that we'll look into. I'm not really decided. But for now, we're not going to go this way because there's this like lake in the way. So we'll have to deal with this at some point in the future. So I'm going to start digging this way and we'll start setting up these storage rooms. Alright, so there is the first storage area finished. There are 18 double chests here. This allows us to store 62,000 dirt. I can't see why we'd ever need to store more than 62,000 dirt. Like, even if we're working on a giant mega project that requires 100,000 dirt, I'll just fill these all up, build half the thing, and then fill them up again. You know, that's an idea. That's something that we can definitely do. So I think for every item that we expect we could have quite a lot of, this will be the way we do it. And I'm probably going to just start with the top left here, fill it up, and go down like that. That's probably going to be the way that I do it. So the only one that I want to do on camera here is actually the grass one, because I feel like it's going to be a little bit more interesting. I can do the same thing with the floor here, where the floor is the block itself, which makes it really clear, like, you know, what it is that we're storing here. But then when it comes to the walls, we're going to have a little bit of a unique design for the grass storage area. Alright, so chest will be here, and then behind that we'll have dirt, and then I want to have grass here. So what we'll need to do is remove these blocks, put a light source up there, and then put a grass block like that, and that should mean that we can have this, like, very subtle... you can barely ever even see it. I kind of didn't really think about that. You could barely ever see it. I mean, it is there. It's not missing, but... oh, fuck it, I'll do it. I think it looks nice. Alright, but what about this corner? What do we do with that? Because I can't put a grass block here, and actually, if the grass is going to be visible anywhere, it's going to be most visible in that corner. Is there some way that I can cheese this? Can I put, like, a stair here? Or something like that, so that it... oh, I don't have any stairs. One sec. Alright, so stair? Can I put it, like... there? No. I don't think this is going to work, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to let me do it nicely. Let's give it a go, though. So if I put a stair like that... can I now put a stair like that? No. Oh, I don't think it's possible. Can I just put like a slab there? Or is a slab... does a slab stop grass from growing? I don't know. I want to have this sort of a look where it's like a stone brick in the corner like that, right? But I don't want to have it kill the grass because it would be really nice to have it in this corner. I don't know how to go about doing that. Right, let's do a little bit of a test. I'm going to put a grass block here and a slab, and we will see if the grass dies. Okay, yeah, so it definitely kills it. That's so sad. I don't think we can do it. I don't think we can have it. We can't have grass in this corner. It's just going to die. I wonder if we could put some, like, bullshit redstone device behind this to swap out the grass so that it's always grass. Oh, that would be so funny. Like, it would be possible, right? It wouldn't be that difficult to do. You could use observers to detect when the grass itself changes, and then have, like, a piston arm, pull it out and swap it with a different one, which is surrounded by grass. I feel like it's possible. I feel like it's possible. But look how good that looks. Look how amazing that would look, right? With chests there, you know. Look at that. Hint of grass. Isn't that nice? Until it dies, of course. Well, all that's left to do now is build a couple more of these storage cells and start bringing over some of the materials from the spawn chunks and also my current base as well. But I'm really liking the way this is looking. 62,000 blocks in each of these cells. We will never run out of storage space ever again for the things that we need this much storage space for. So anyway, if you made it to the end of episode 2 of this series, thank you so much for watching. I'm not expecting episode 2 to receive nearly as much attention as the first one. The first one wasn't particularly successful. 100 views is okay, but yeah, I'm still just going to make these videos for fun because I kind of enjoy it. I do really want to stick to this idea of releasing one video a week, and this sort of a series is exactly what will allow me to continue that trend indefinitely. So if you are enjoying the series, then great. I really hope you enjoy it more, and I hope you'll come back for more episodes going forward. And if you have any suggestions for how I can resolve this weirdly specific issue, other than the piston arms, then, you know, that would be super cool as well, and I'll definitely give you credits. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Skal Plays Minecraft, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, have a nice day, and bye-bye.